Well, the wet weather has followed the Rockies everywhere they've been on this trip. Minneapolis, Cincinnati, and now Philadelphia, though we will start on time at Citizens Bank Park. Rockies will play 4 here before returning home to take on the Cardinals. And as we said, it's always good to be in Philadelphia. This is a marvelous ballpark, and off in the distance, the city of Philadelphia. On the hill tonight is Jerad Eickhoff, and Charlie Blackmon likes this ballpark pretty well. Last time he was here, he had 5 home runs. He'll lead things off. He's batting .319 this year, and he's driven in 33. Southwest batting order tonight for Buddy Black. DJ had a 4-hit game yesterday. Nolan's coming in at .294. Cargo homered yesterday, his 200th as a Rocky. Mark Reynolds will be behind him. Gerardo Parra is going to get a start for Ian Desmond in left field. Alexi Amarista at short. Tony Walters is behind the plate. Jeff Hoffman, as we were just discussing, is making the start. Jerad Eickhoff comes in 0-4. He's a big, strong kid, 6'4", about 245 pounds. And you mentioned the curveball for Hoffman. That is also the key pitch for Eickhoff.
Eickhoff has one of the better curveballs in baseball. Not a lot of contact off of it. If the Rockies want to get to him, lay off the curveball until late, because his Phillies as a staff have been getting beat up with 2 strikes. Fastball lives around 91 miles an hour. Last year, Eickhoff was 2nd in the National League with 30 home runs given up. This Phillies team has lost 17 of the last 21 baseball games. They were picked to finish last at the start of the season, I think, based on some of the arms that they had in the starting rotation. Jeremy Hellickson, seen some glimpses from Vince Velasquez. They were hoping this team would be a lot better, but unfortunately they have not played very good baseball.
Well, not of late. They got off to a decent start, 11-9 through 20 ball games, but they've lost 17 of 21. However, they have had the Rockies number, particularly here at the bank. They have won 20 of their last 27 against Colorado here in Philadelphia. In fact, Charlie had the great individual stats last year in Philadelphia, the 3-homer game, but the Rockies were swept. Here's the 0-1 from Eickhoff, and that is a little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Home plate umpire Jerry Meals. Jerry is the crew chief. Chris Conroy at first, Tom Widring at second, Ron Kolpa is at third. And that's low. 2 balls and a strike. Over the last 4 starts, Eickhoff has an ERA close to 7. Phillies beginning a 7-game homestand tonight. They were on a 10-game road trip. And on the 2-1 pitch, he flipped in a curveball. And again, that's what he's going to need to do, not just as a swing and miss pitch, but to sometimes get himself back in counts. 2-2 on Charlie. And a swing and a miss on a breaking ball. So Blackmon walks off, and we'll take a look at the defenders for Philadelphia. In the outfield, they have a good young player in Aaron Altair. Odubel Herrera is in center field. Michael Saunders is in right. And in the infield, it's Maikel Franco, Freddie Galvis, Cesar Hernandez, and Tommy Joseph. Cameron Rupp's doing the catching. The biggest catchers in the sport. DJ would have gone 5 for 5 yesterday if he wasn't robbed by Joey Votto.
Votto made last at bat. Yeah, Votto made a great play down the first baseline. And the only reason why he made that play was because he was covering first.
And this is top to third. Maikel Franco with an easy play. 2 outs. I'm going to bring up Nolan, who looks like he took up boxing late yesterday afternoon. He's got a pretty good shiner under his eye from that ball that he described afterward, the ball that Billy Hamilton. I mean, that is a really good looking shiner. And it seemed like he didn't get hit that hard, but the ball was spinning so much when he tried to grab it with his bare hand that it ricocheted, and as you can see, it really struck him. Unfortunately, it didn't close up his eye. This ball's ripped to left, and Altair hangs in there and makes the catch. Could not hit it any harder. A 1-2-3 beginning for Eichhoff. Jeff Hoffman to the mound when we come back. So the Phillies will get ready to go with Cesar Hernandez, their second baseman, after the Rockies went in order in the top of the first. Phillies been on the road quite a bit. They're in the midst of a section of their season where 21 out of 31 is coming away from Citizens Bank Park. Here's the Southwest batting order for Pete Mackanin. Freddie Galvis will bat second, and then it's Aaron Altair. He's batting .299 with 8 home runs. Good looking player. Tommy Joseph has a lot of pop. Maikel Franco, same deal. Then Herrera Rupp, the veteran Michael Saunders will bat 8th in front of Jared Eichhoff. And the first pitch from Jeff Hoffman is fastball just above the belt, but it's in the strike zone. 0-1, 95 on that first fastball from Hoffman. Tell you what, Spilly, one of the things I liked about not only what we saw from Jeff against the Dodgers.
Good pitch.
That was a really good pitch. Actually, I think it had so much movement it wasn't really well received, which is unusual by Tony Walters, because that was in the strike zone. Kind of locked him up. 2-1, or 1-2, I should say. But when he went down for the one start he's made down in Albuquerque, there was no letdown. He pitched a really good baseball game for Albuquerque after a solid start against the Dodgers.
And he needs to understand that that's important. People look at that.
Softly hit, and it's grabbed by Nolan Arenado, 1 out. Here's some of the more important numbers on Jeff Hoffman.
This is his second start of the season, first time ever facing the Phillies. And the strikeouts has been a number that I've been really impressed with. 8 strikeouts versus the Dodgers in 5 1/3. And last year when we saw Hoffman, didn't really have the strikeout stuff yet. And I think now that you've seen the curveball, now it's a work in progress. It's getting better, and he's establishing his fastball, using it 72% of the time. And as we've been talking about with this young Rockies staff, their ability to use their fastball, it's what's allowing them to have so much success.
Hoffman's fastball at 97 misses outside.
So here's a number we're going to pay attention to throughout this series. The Philadelphia Phillies are second in baseball with average against fastballs. They also lead baseball swinging at first pitch with their batting average. And this is a team like the Rockies that have had trouble locating first pitch fastballs.
Pete Mackanin, look who's on Pete's right.
Bob McClure.
Old Fred. Used to work in the Rockies organization. This is in the air to Parra in fairly deep left field. He's feeling for the wall, but he's not even at the track yet. Good job by Gerardo, who's an outstanding outfielder. 2 gone. That'll bring up Aaron Altair. Alexi Amarista is playing shortstop this evening. Parra, Blackman, and Gonzalez in the outfield. And you know the rest of the group in the infield with Walters doing the catching. Rockies have been very, very good with the gloves. Aaron Altair, who was born in Germany, and he takes a heavy fastball. I mean, he's blowing darts up there, Spilly.
You can
97.
Hear it. Yeah, you can hear
the laces spinning up in the booth.
Exactly.
That's 98. Think of the past. Think of when you played for the Rockies. A guy making a spot start didn't come up with 97, 98 and a really good curveball. Look at that thing.
Oh, that was your ace.
Absolutely, if you had one.
Well, he's all over the Subaru strike zone.
Here's the 1-2. And
check it.
Even that's got a lot. When we talk about spin rate, that curveball, although it missed by a lot, that had to have huge spin rate.
There's times where guys that have been pitching in the PCL, Pacific Coast League, where Jeff Hoffman has been throwing in Albuquerque, that's another high altitude. When they get to places like this with humidity, places closer to sea level, they realize that their curveball can have some bite, that their secondary stuff, their sinker that they maybe don't throw so often, that they can have some late depth.
2-2 on Altair. Strike three. And that is quite a first inning from Hoffman. First strikeout of the ball game at 97. Well done. Is brought to you by the 2017 Toyota Tundra in your hometown Toyota stores, and by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. The historic and wonderful city of Philadelphia playing host to the Rockies over the next 4 days. We go to the second inning. Cargo will lead it off. Have not had a base runner as of yet. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborg's upstairs. Corey Sullivan's down field level. Sully, how you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. It's beautiful down here. I noticed that the net extends to the dugout here, but it doesn't keep me safe down here.
Well, just be careful. There's a two-seamer away. There's Sully. You have a chair to sit in?
I do. I was trying to present myself to everyone by standing.
You're very formal.
Thank you.
By the way, I'm going to ask you a question here right after this pitch. And no swing, 1-1. From up here, and you're down there.
Yeah.
Was Hoffman throwing BBs?
He was. Not only could you hear it like you mentioned, but just his demeanor on the mound's incredible. It's fun to watch when you got a guy out there who's throwing like that.
That's another base hit for Cargo. He's hitting 10 of his last 11 ball games. Spilly, we were talking about his lift and how soft he was on the front side. I imagine that was a perfect illustration of that.
It's because he's getting his leg kick on time with the pitcher's arm swing. While we're watching him, notice when the leg starts to move down. It's when the arm starts to move forward. And if you're in between, as Cargo has been, he'd either keep his leg up in the air while the arm's swinging forward, which would make him late, or he would start his leg coming down when the arm's already starting to swing, and that'll make him early. Right now, it's perfect timing.
So here's Mark Reynolds, and Mark takes a strike. Buddy Black electing to split up the two lefties today, so Cargo hitting cleanup. Mark in the 5-hole, and then Gerardo Parra 6. It rained most of the afternoon. Got to ask you guys this question. The Rockies have not hit outside BP in almost a week. It's been 6 full days, which is really unusual. At this juncture of the season, does it mean a whole lot to a player?
Yeah, it means a lot. Guys love to take batting practice on the field. And there's 2 or 3 guys in the Rockies dugout right now, David Dahl, Tom Murphy, who would love to take batting practice on the field. They're on the road trip to take batting practice on the field.
That's fouled off by Reynolds. I get that they want to see the flight of their ball, but when you're talking about a Cargo, a Mark Reynolds, Nolan, they're hitting every day. So a few days not on the field where it's just in the cage, it still makes a difference to them a little bit.
Corey, answer this one.
For me, you know me, Spilly, I did not like to take batting practice. I did not want to watch myself hit soft line drives. You got Reynolds popping up right there.
Franco makes the catch, 1 out.
Yeah, I just didn't need to see myself hit line drives to left field. It was more of a feel-good thing, like you mentioned, and I tended to notice the bad swings I took, not the good swings. So for me, the cage worked great. And I imagine, actually, like Drew said, some of the guys that play every day, it's a nice little break from coming out and taking so many swings.
Here's something interesting on Eichhoff, fellas, as Parra steps in. Against lefties this year, lefties are hitting 31 points higher, but maybe even of greater importance and greater impact. The slugging percentage for lefties is .505 against Eichhoff, just .304 for righties.
I think you could probably tie that to the secondary pitches, to be honest. I think he relies more on a fastball changeup against lefties, where you can do a lot more damage against the fastball and spins it against the righties.
1 out, Parra at the plate. Cargo a single, he's at first. Outside 1-1. Now Parra got off to a fabulous start. The Rockies are so deep that when Desmond came off the DL, somebody was going to lose a lot of playing time, and it's been Gerardo. That's a pretty nice piece to bring off your bench,
It's great. Parra didn't get a game started in Cincinnati. Parra's last start came in Minnesota on the 18th. He ended up having a single, 1 for 3 on the day.
We were here really early today and passed by the video room, and Parra was in there early by himself studying Eichhoff. 2-1. And this is sharply hit to short. Galvis to Hernandez on to first. It is a double play that'll end the inning. Middle of 2, no score in Philadelphia. Tommy Joseph, the first baseman, will lead it off. Fans join in on the conversation. We invite you each and every night. Thoughts, photos, questions. Use Twitter or Instagram. Include the hashtag Toyota Talk. Been Rockies fans following the club throughout this road trip. This is from Jeff's dad. Have not seen my son but 2 times in the past 5 months. Excited to be here tonight to see him. Well, I know you're going to have a great time, and Jeff's excited to be on the mound again. And I'll tell you, if he throws the baseball like he is right now, it potentially is going to be a long night for the Phillies, because he is throwing aspirin up there. 0-1 on Tommy Joseph.
It's pretty cool that his dad is here at Citizens Bank and gets to hear the ball coming in. I'm sure he has good seats.
I told you that the Phillies had their way with the Rockies last year, and really over the last several years. Tommy Joseph, 5 of 9 against the Rockies last year with a pair of home runs. That is a nasty curveball. He found his release point, and usually a curveball come in the upper 70s in the big leagues. That thing was at 84.
Watch Tommy Joseph's front elbow buckle.
Off the end of the bat. Charlie's got it, 1 out.
Guys, I know the results of the game are obviously pending, but I think when you watch Jeff Hoffman right now, you can tell he's pitching like a guy who doesn't want to make a spot start. He wants to stay here and prove that he belongs here.
The other thing I like when you talk about what he's done so far, Sully, is his tempo is great.
Yeah.
It's get the baseball, get back on the rubber.
That, and obviously we're only 4 outs into it, but he's pitching ahead. That first pitch strike efficiency that we always talk about. While he may throw ball 1, ball 2 doesn't follow right now.
Here's Michael Franco. And he takes just inside, evidently, 1-0.
Still competitive pitches, though, right in off that Subaru strike zone.
Had a little bit of run on it, too. That's hit hard, but right at Nolan. I got it. I'll throw it around the infield. 2 outs.
You can always tell a team's demeanor based off record. The Phillies have lost, as Drew's mentioned, we've all mentioned, 17 of the last 21 games. And the reaction of Franco after lining out to Nolan went straight Eeyore. And you could see it in that Phillies dugout. And as players notice that as well. And that's why whenever you're playing a team that's struggling, you have to make sure you jump on them early.
It's a pitch you want. That's right around the knees. Called a ball. 1-0 on Odubel Herrera. He's off to a slow start, hitting .236. Talented kid.
Yeah,
he's a really talented guy. How's that? That looked like the changeup.
Whatever it is, if your changeup's 89 miles an hour, that's about 6 miles an hour faster than Bronson Arroyo's best fastball yesterday.
Did he get the baseball and he's hiding it from everybody? Oh no, the gentleman behind got the baseball. That's on the inside corner at 97. Well, you know, you want 7-8 mile an hour difference change up. So if you're throwing 97, 98, 89 would be appropriate, I guess, for your change. Used to be known as a good fastball, right?
Yep.
1-2 and a little comebacker. Another solid inning. Dad's going to approve of that. 6 up, 6 set down by Jeff Hoffman. Inning, first of 4 between the Rockies and the Fighting Phils. Alexi Amarista will lead things off for Colorado. Folks, when the Rockies score 7 runs or more, make sure you go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special at Masa Taco Bell. Rockies came up a run short yesterday, winning 6-4 on 11 hits. Colorado banked 4 home runs yesterday. Amarista, he had a nice little weekend in Cincinnati. 4 ribbies in 1 inning on Friday. A couple of doubles on Saturday. Pat Valaika started on Sunday. Pat threw out a home run. These 2 guys filling in admirably for Trevor Story, who'll be back in a day or 2. Trevor played over the weekend for Albuquerque. 2 starts. Yesterday utilized as a pinch hitter. 3 for 8 over the weekend for Trevor, including a home run. 2-1. Walters will be next, then Jeff Hoffman. As Hoffman getting the batting gloves on, I'm surprised that Kyle Freeland's not over there trying to help him out. There's a base hit for Amarista, maybe giving him a batting tip or 2. Got to tell you a hilarious story. So Hoffman yesterday, he's getting ready to board his flight. In fact, he's already on the flight, and he's following the Rockies' progress and his good friend Kyle Freeland in Cincinnati yesterday. And before the ball game, he had texted Freeland about facing Bronson Arroyo, because Bronson Arroyo was his hero growing up. He grew up in Latham, New York, which folks is in the Albany, Schenectady area. The state capital of New York is Albany. It's about 2.5 hours north of Midtown. And it's right on the Massachusetts border. There's a lot of Red Sox fans, including the Hoffman family. For several generations, they've been Red Sox fans. And Arroyo was his guy growing up. And he said, man, Arroyo's my guy. He texted Freeland. He said, you got to get a knock off him, right? Well, Kyle was already into his pregame routine and didn't have a chance to text him back. Tony's at the plate. And so he gets on the plane to check progress. He sees that, wow, Freeland already has a double in the game. So right as they're taxiing, so he knows he's going to lose service any second, Freeland is at the plate, and the Rockies are up 5-1. And you know how when you're watching, like,
yeah, the MLB at bat.
Right, the MLB at bat. All of a sudden, there's nobody on base, but Freeland's up, and it says ball in play.
Runs.
And it says runs. And so he's thinking to himself, obviously the only way they could score a run is if he hit a home run. He's saying, no, that couldn't have happened. So then they land, and he sees he hit a home run.
That's great. Now he's probably just waiting for the video to upload so he can see it.
Yeah, and afterward, there was also a text from Freeland said, clipped him. That was it. Tony, line drive, base hit. And Amarista had to freeze to make sure it cleared Freddie Galvis. Runs to second base, 2 on, nobody out. Hoffman won't have an opportunity to match the home run hit by his good friend. He's going to be bunting here.
Well, Tony will take pleasure in this one. It's almost like he hit a changeup at Freddie Galvis. Galvis knows if he probably would have taken 1 extra step back, he might have been able to catch that.
How about Tony Walters now?
Superman, that's nice. Nice photography.
Yeah, I was going to say, Walters is now 5 for 6 career-wise against Eichhoff. So just like Kyle Freeland wants to put Bronson Arroyo on speed dial, Tony Walters wants to put Eichhoff on speed dial. There's the homer by Freeland yesterday. First home run since he was playing in the DPS. Thomas Jefferson High School. He hit over 600 his senior year, including 6 home runs. He's a heck of an athlete.
He really is. 31 is the old number our broadcast partner used to wear. Corey Sullivan.
I was going to say, to be honest, the body type, everything, swings a little slow, a little bit like mine. It looked very similar.
You have to bunt towards third. You can always tell when a pitcher's not going to bunt it in the right direction because of the bat angle. The beauty of the home plate is that you can use home plate as your directional. So imagine you're trying to get the bunt down towards third base. You just point your barrel parallel with the first baseline, and now you have the proper angle to bunt it towards third. There you go, get it out there.
And he gets a perfect bunt down. In fact, Eichhoff's going to have to hustle, and by a step, he gets Hoffman. So Jeff does his part, and now it's second and third. As Amarista having a little front with Maikel Franco. And Tony Walters and Freddie Galvis getting together. It's a brotherhood.
There's times where an organization will force the pitcher to bunt even with 2 strikes. 2 strikes. I'm not sure if Stu Cole gave him the bunt sign or he did it on his own, but on the Subaru Supermo, you can see the bat angle, how he sets it out early, out in front, and gets the proper angle, and then just lets the bat and ball do its work. It's a huge bunt.
And now a great opportunity for the Rockies to break the ice. Dwayne Espy has Charlie Blackmon at the plate. Charlie pops this up. He's got to get out of play. Franco may have a play, and his arms are not long enough, fortunately. Oh, man.
Uh-oh, someone got hurt.
The fan flipped over the fence.
He's trying to play it cool. You know inside it hurts. Corey,
yeah, that was.
he had a front row seat.
I did have a front row seat. It was. I mean, Franco only missed that by about 2 inches, and then gentleman trying to get the carom of the foul ball. He didn't fall far, thank goodness, but he definitely landed hard.
Well, Charlie makes a late decision to fire, and he's behind 0-2. You know, Blackmon has 33 RBIs out of the top spot in the lineup, and it takes a lot of clutch hitting, but you know what else it takes? It takes guys in the bottom of the lineup getting on base for him. Amarista and Walters in this case, back-to-back singles. And then the good bunt by Jeff Hoffman.
The Phillies are playing infield back. A ball in play scores a run. They are conceding. It is not infield in. They're not playing to protect the Rockies from scoring. Eichhoff is not caving in either. He's looking for the punch out.
He goes fastball up in the zone, 1-2. Notice that pattern a little bit more, haven't you, Spilly, with pitchers against the Rockies hitters, especially their big, strong hitters trying to get swings and misses on elevated fastballs.
More and more pitchers are realizing you can get the strikeout with your fastball, even if it's not a fastball that typically induces strikeouts.
He went back to it, 2-2.
Yeah, I think when you think of up in the zone, you think belt and up, and I usually call it a click above comfy. And you can actually watch pitchers nowadays try and go a step up each time, trying to get a guy to chase. But when I think back to Charlie in 2015, and his whole goal of spring training was to be comfortable with 2 strikes, he's one of those guys that he still understands how he's going to get pitched.
2-2. It's a curveball target, and that's what it is, and it's pulled foul. And this is the pitch he goes to frequently with 2 strikes. As Billy noted earlier, he's got a good curveball, and that's a high percentage, isn't it, with 2 strikes?
You don't see a lot of guys in the major leagues with legitimate curveballs anymore. It's almost a lost pitch. So if a guy has a good one, it's a completely different look that most hitters are not accustomed to seeing.
And that is a base hit that's going to drive into Charlie Blackmon coming through again. He'll go to second with an easy double, 2-0 Colorado. 35 ribbies now for the Rockies leadoff hitter.
Well, this is why that bunt was so important by Jeff Hoffman. if you're not able to move him over, this at bat doesn't happen the way it happened. And for Charlie Blackmon to file off so many pitches, to lay off the fastballs up and in, he was in protect mode. He was in a mode where he's not afraid to get beat. He gets beat, but the pitch is up. And the fact that he can shoot the ball opposite field, there's a reason why now Charlie has 35 RBIs out of that leadoff spot.
So here's LeMahieu. 59th hit for Blackmon. Ties him with Corey Dickerson, the former Rocky, for the major league lead in hits. And both Charlie and DJ among the league leaders in multi-hit games. Dickerson and Charlie now tied up in terms of multi-hit games. Both DJ and Charlie with 19 multi-hit games. Charlie takes off for third, and the throw's not going to get him. Fourth stolen base for Blackmon. And that's an important bag, Corey, and a big bag.
Yeah, when you can, if you were watching Charlie pitch before, I was trying to keep an eye on him. He was getting what we would call a little bit squirrely. Looked like he was going to take it. Eichhoff did the inside move to keep him in check. Charlie just got such a great jump. You take a look at it right here. He's already halfway by the time Eichhoff lets go of the ball. That basically means no chance. Now you put DJ in a situation where the pressure's off. You just got to try and get a pitch up in the zone to get the RBI.
And already down a couple of runs, it becomes a little easier for LeMahieu because the infield's been pulled in. We were talking to the assistant hitting coach, Jeff Salazar, yesterday, and it's a lineup that puts so much pressure on a team, especially when you get to the second and third time through.
Every guy has different holes and different approaches.
This is bounced through the left side with the infield back, and here comes Blackmon with the third run. And DJ continues after the slow start with runners in scoring position to throw out hit after hit in those situations.
I just love the fact that DJ understands what the situation called for. Hanging curveball, and no, it's not hit hard. It's just hitting the right spot. And maybe if Freddie Galvis is back in his normal position at shortstop, is he able to backhand it, and maybe he could throw him out at first. Those are the 6-hole hits that pitchers despise, but hitters, we love them.
Bob McClure at the mound. The Rockies have done everything right in the inning. Great battle and a 2-strike hit by Blackmon after, on the third attempt, a successful sac bunt by Hoffman. Now LeMahieu throws out a hit, still just one out. Here come the Boppers with Nolan at the plate. He couldn't have hit the ball any harder his first time up. He hit a sinking line drive to left that was handled by Altair.
The sac bunt for me by Hoffman with 2 strikes is the key of the entire inning.
And a breaking ball for a strike. You know, coming into the ball game, Eichhoff had done a very good job with runners in scoring position. The league was hitting just 156 against him with runners in scoring position, but Rockies turning those numbers around right now. One and one.
Oh, A-Town Pizza. I'm going to come to you guys when I get back to Denver. And that's right, DJ is filthy.
On both sides of the ball, like this guy, who looks like Rocky Balboa after fighting Drago.
I used that line the other day. Remember? I dropped the, you heard him. You see? He's not a machine. He's a man. Corey, how was that?
I'm doing my best not to really laugh out loud, but that was, I mean, you got the words right at least.
Who's Rockies' best
Apollo
opponent? Got to be Apollo Creed,
yeah,
right?
Apollo Creed.
It's a big chopper to short, and only one play, and that's first. So DJ at second with 2 outs, and here comes Cargo as we check our Mako big hit. Well, for Cargo, this was quite a milestone yesterday. His 200th home run in a Rockies uniform. He knew he hit it far enough, just a question of whether or not it would stay fair. And now he is 5th on the all-time Rockies home run list. Helton, Walker, Castilla, Bichette. He's going to pass Dante real soon.
It's a great list to be on.
Hitting .324 with a OPS just under 1,000 his last 10 ball games. Sharp single to center his first time up.
Well, I feel fortunate. I saw Carlos Gonzalez's first hit as a Rocky, first home run as a Rocky, and then yesterday in person watching him hit his 200th career home run as a Rocky.
And Cargo pops this one up shallow center field. Going out is Galvis, and he'll make the catch to end the inning. Productive inning for the Rockies. They cross home plate 3 times. They'll take that lead to the bottom of the 3rd. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get you 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. There's Rocky Balboa. Rockies up 3-0.
No.
Only when it refers to home run derbies. That's all.
Cameron Rupp at the plate. What was the statute of limitations on
I thought it was
the
a
home
week.
run derby
Yeah,
reference?
I thought a week. Well, just wait till I have to make a read later on today. I still get offended, and no offense, but I have to do a read, and you'll know when I get to this read that it's really hard for me to do.
Rupp pulls one foul, and he's behind 2 strikes.
Give you a hint, it has something to do with warning track spilling.
Here's the best part about that. They're actually going to rename that because of you.
Stop it.
Breaking ball. Well located, 1-2 on Rupp. Football game breaks at him. Signing him up as my Mike linebacker.
I'm just hiding behind him if someone's asking me to do something, I'll just hide. You won't be able to find me.
That fastball's popped up and maybe playable for Cargo. Careful. That's fan interference. He's going to make that catch.
Tell Steve Bartman to sit down.
Buddy's coming out. If he, you know what? If he reaches over, that's over. That's over the. If he just reached straight up, he's, you know, entitled to do that. But once he reaches onto the playing surface, that should be fan interference.
It's really difficult to have a good angle to see how far he reached over. There's Jerry Meals, home plate umpire, having a discussion with Buddy, and Buddy says, "Yep, let's take a look."
They're going to let New York decide. Both you guys were outfielders. What do you think?
I think it's interference.
I do as well. I think if you watch his body weight and upper body shift, he goes out over the pole.
There's no question Cargo's going to make that catch, and he is out over the pole.
Right.
Or, you know, over the fence.
As soon as he reaches over the fence line. Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
He's in his elbow.
He's just trying to take his daughter out to a baseball game, his family out. And he's probably going to make it on the Jumbotron far more often than he wants to.
I think that was the clearest angle as well, that he had reached over the fence line. But I do feel like every time I think that it's definitive, it comes back the other way. Because the ball's already gone. It's already caromed out right there.
Oh, he's getting texted already.
He's getting his 15 minutes of fame. I don't, you know what, and I don't blame the fan. He's reacting. He's looking up in the sky. That's why I never blame Bartman. Ball's up in the air. He's looking up in the air.
Or he wants a souvenir.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all, but he did lean out onto the field. Let's see what they determined in New York.
You're out. Safe.
Oh, man.
Oh, they love their Philly fans here. It does look like he's reaching out. It's just right in that shade of gray where you can't tell if Cargo's reaching into the stands or if this guy's reaching in to his pocket to answer his cell phone because he's on TV.
1-2 on Rupp again. And now he has him out officially. One gone. That'll bring up Michael Saunders. Time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. Well, remember the Bash Brothers, folks? Against the Phillies back in the World Series season of 2007, including the 3-game sweep of Philadelphia. The Bash Brothers both hit over 400. Both threw out one into the seats that year. Both had OPSs over 1,000. And they're both now speechless.
Oh, we're not speechless. This, I mean,
I've never seen you
This is what I live for, is coming to Philadelphia, get a cheesesteak, get Frank, the ice cream man, and then relive the glory days with my little buddy down there.
I mean, we truly were the two-headed monster, and it was as evident in that playoff series as ever because Spilly started the games and I came in on the back end for defense.
Yeah, you have to have a caddy.
Hey, he forgot to tip the 10%, unfortunately.
Well, Sully, you obviously played well here, as did Spilly in their careers. That's inside on Saunders. But you ended up playing here as a member of the Phillies a couple years later.
Yeah, and, you know, I do feel like, ironically, I also played with the Dodgers. Those are probably the two places that I swung the bat the best. And in hindsight, it doesn't surprise me that I later signed with those teams.
Well, who had better numbers, I mean, overall, career-wise? Because I know Spilly, you hit over 400 here.
I crushed it here, and I remember Philly fans are the best because they wear you out. And people would say, why can we not get this Spill Blog guy out here? He's the worst player I've ever seen. I was like, I don't know.
They hadn't seen me yet.
Well, they had Jamie Moyer. That's all I needed.
This is popped up by Saunders. Mark Reynolds waving his arms. He's got the baseball, 2 outs. How about the NLDS in 2007? The Phillies, I remember it so well. They were supremely confident. Then Jeff Francis did his thing in game 1. And Todd Helton on his first swing ever in the postseason tripled. And maybe the biggest blow of all in game 2, that grand slam, and not a wall scraper from Kaz Matsui. What do you guys remember when Kaz swung the bat there?
I remember all the terrible towels waving around. And there's a couple pitches that were close. Kyle Loesch came in. Cole Hamels started that game. And as soon as Kaz Matsui hit that, every single towel in the audience went straight down. And all you could hear at Citizens Bank Park was our dugout erupting. And that was by far one of my favorite moments of all time.
Philly Fanatic got on his scooter and drove home. 1-2 on Jared Eichhoff. And Hoffman's pitch is strike 3. And that's all for the Phillies. Another 1-2-3 inning from Jeff Hoffman. We'll go to the 4th. The Rockies leading the Fanatic and the Phils 3-0. Challenge question. Go down to Root_Sports_RM and cast your vote. We'll show you the results during our post-game show. Which baseball mascot is the most iconic? The Philly Fanatic or the San Diego Chicken?
I got a write-in vote.
You have a write-in? Oh, no, I know where you're going.
Rosie the Red. Writing it in right now.
You continue to have a fixation/crush on Rosie the Red, don't you?
I love the Fanatic. Yeah, there we are.
Did she sign for you?
She signed something for me?
Yeah.
No.
No? Digits?
Maybe.
Your heart's still aflutter, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it really is. One of the best things as a baseball player here in Philadelphia is before the game, the Philly Fanatic would run through the scorebook, run through the batting lineup, and would make fun of you. And there was a time where I learned all the moves of the Fanatic, from the Philly players that the Fanatic would do to our team. And Jeff Francis, Sully, myself would sit there in the front row and watch the Fanatic do this entire skit. And I'm telling you, the very first time the Fanatic starts looking through a program guide to find your name, to figure out why you're in the lineup, you've made it. You've made it to the big leagues.
That'd be pretty neat. Mark Reynolds in the 4th inning. Mark popped to 3rd his first time, batting 5th this evening. So Sully, Jacobs filling in for Dougie, and he looked up your stats and Spilly's stats career-wise at the bank. There's a strike. Spilly, you hit .408, 3 bombs, 9 RBIs in your career at the bank. Well done.
Spilly, I'm already warning you, judging by you going first, you lose again.
Well, Sully, you hit .372 here, which is great, unbelievable.
Okay. That's nice.
2 home runs, you drove in 5, and played extraordinary defense, which got us thinking earlier when Sully and I were driving to the ballpark. 2-1 on Mark. That's a pretty good slider. When was the last, this was not me, this was actually Sully. When was the last athletic competition that you've won? Spilly?
I haven't won at golf. I haven't won at horse.
Strike 3, good pitch. Sully?
I'm trying to think of anything he's ever beat anyone at, and I'm not sure that I can think of anything. Spilly, how's your cornhole game?
I think I'm good. Did I lose to you in cornhole?
No, that's the one thing I don't think we've ever played. I mean, pool, you're not very good at. Darts, you're not very good at.
Croquet, he's said he's decent at croquet. Have you competed against Sully in croquet?
No. I think I could beat Sully at Frisbee golf.
Ooh. That's a strike on Para.
An excellent Frisbee golfer.
I think a sports Olympics is ahead of us.
Okay, I'm in. You name the place in the events, and I'm on. It's on.
If you get skunked, I feel very bad. But I also feel very good.
He's on his smartphone right now, trying to come up with the 5 most obscure sports
we should let the Toyota Talk Twitter followers come up with
an odd number.
5 events for Sully and I to take each other on in a has-been Olympics.
I think it's more like never was.
Either or.
However you want to phrase it. But a retired athlete Olympic.
2 strikes on Para. Maybe Glockenspiel playing.
You know, there's a place to go noodling in Colorado. We can add noodling to it.
There's also curling.
Great Colorado sport. This ball sharply hit, but it's right at Hernandez. 2 outs. I've always been intrigued by curling. I think that if you're, the fastidious type, clean a lot,
yeah,
and you can hold a beer at the same time that you can compete, it's a sport that is appealing to a lot of folks, shall we say.
So curling would be ideal for me because I mop all the time. That is one of the chores that I'm required by wife law to do at least twice a week. Noodling is where you stick your arm and try to use your arm to catch catfish, and I feel like I could do that as well. That's why I thought I'd be good at noodling.
Inside on Amarista.
I throw verbal darts. I think
you're good at that.
I think I can throw.
You really want a battle of wits?
Yes.
Nightcoff lands that curveball 1-2. That's like between you two guys, that's an ongoing competition.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what, A-ball?
It's never stopped, and it never will stop.
Emergency hack by Amarista to keep the at-bat alive. First impressions of each other way back when?
I thought he was a bat boy.
Well,
this is poked to shallow center, and Herrera makes a catch. Corey, upon our return, you can tell us your initial impression of Spilly. Rockies up 3-0, middle of 4th. Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. You absolutely crushed Ryan Spilborgh's cheesesteak today. How was it?
So I have time before we get to Corey's attempt at a verbal dart, since he had literally 4 minutes to prepare. In the Rockies, in the visiting clubhouse, it's the best cheesesteak in Philadelphia. And I took a bite off the top. You can't really tell, but I took a bite off the top of that cheesesteak. And there are numbers from teams that have come here. The visiting clubbies keep track of the amount of cheesesteaks being consumed by the players. And without giving away guys' names, because I don't feel like that's very fair, but their names are up on the board. The one-day record for a person of a visiting team to consume in one day was 8 1/4 cheesesteaks in one day. It happened back in 2013.
Position player or pitcher?
He was a pitcher.
I assume it was an off day for that particular pitcher.
Okay, the record for a team in a rainout. So technically it was an off day.
Let me guess.
Guess. So you got
84.
Okay, it's a great guess. So 25 guys on the team plus coaching staff plus a training staff.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go up then. 124.
103 is the record in one day by the New York Mets back in 2014.
They were awful that year too. Fat and out of shape. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Cesar Hernandez.
Now my favorite one. 4-day series. The Rockies are here for 4 games against the Philadelphia Phillies. The record came from somebody that was not a player, but was on a coaching staff for the Milwaukee Brewers back in 2015. Consumed 23 cheesesteaks.
Line to left. Parra lays out and makes a wonderful catch. Hardest hit ball so far against Jeff Hoffman, and the Gold Glover Gerardo Parra makes a sensational catch.
Well, you know, Gerardo has not consumed any cheesesteaks today because first step quickness is what allows him to catch this baseball. Tailing away towards the left field line. Just the perfect angle from Gerardo on that Subaru Supremo. Booyah! I'll buy him a cheesesteak after the game.
Curveball's in the dirt. Ball 1 on Freddie Galvis. Chris Bosio. Got to be Bosio. It's not Bosio?
Not Chris Bosio.
Bosio's big enough to put away some groceries, right? There's the 1-0 on Galvis, and now it's 2-0. That's unusual. Hoffman has worked ahead of virtually everybody. First 2-0 count of the baseball game from Hoffman. Galvis hit a fly ball to left his first time up. 2-1.
Just going back to my list on cheesesteaks, I think you might enjoy this. The Rockies rarely come to Philadelphia, once a year. But the last 3-year total for the Rockies puts them towards the bottom of the National League. They've only consumed 321 cheesesteaks.
Good.
The Atlanta Braves, by a wide margin, lead all of baseball. They've consumed over 1,200 cheesesteaks.
There's a correlation here. I think you know where I'm going.
The teams at the bottom are all pretty much first place teams.
3-1, ground ball to first. That's fair. And Hoffman gets over. Nice play by Mark Reynolds. We've said that quite a few times this year.
Rockies baseball is always live with the MLB.com at Bat mobile app. Stay connected all season with video highlights, stats, news, and more. You hear how I read that, Sully?
I did, and I've been waiting very, very patiently, Spilly.
So let's hear it.
My first impression of Ryan Spilborghs, because we did not play together in the minor leagues coming up. So when he made his debut in Cincinnati, it was the first time I saw him. Much like he thought I was a bat boy, because Spilly will admit he was wearing a jersey 6 sizes too big.
Altair hits this ball well, right center field. Cargo, he's going to have to field it off the wall. That's the first hit. Actually, it's Charlie fielding it off the wall. The first hit for the Phillies. What a job by Hoffman out of the gate. He retired the first 11 before the 2-out double by Aaron Altair.
This has been the pretty much lone bright spot in the Philadelphia Phillies lineup. Altair, they've loved this kid for a long time. Last year took a step backwards because he was still recovering from a wrist injury that he suffered. A lot of pop, extremely athletic, and the fact that he's willing to take a ball and shoot it 96 fastball and can shoot it opposite field is going to be a good one.
Tommy Joseph at the plate. He hit a fly ball to center field off the end of the bat his first time up. First time Hoffman out of the stretch. And that is a base hit. Altair will come home. 3-1.
Mentioned before the start of today's game that the Phillies are one of the top teams hitting against fastballs, and they're also one of the top teams at swinging at first pitch. Their average well over 400. Tommy Joseph goes inside out. 2-out double by Altair ends up biting Jeff Hoffman.
What I think is interesting about Jeff Hoffman, too, to start this inning, we hadn't seen 3-ball counts. He's seen 2 now, and then the next 2 guys have given up, he's given up hits. I've noticed that his rhythm on the mound has gotten a little more deliberate. He's slowed down every single time instead of keeping that fast pace that he had going.
Maikel Franco hit a rocket, but right at Arenado his first time up. Good block by Walters. All right, finish your thought on Spilly upon your first meeting.
Then I watched him take some batting practice, and I thought, wow, we really scraped the barrel, huh? And that was it. And then he was gone 5 days later.
Where he belonged.
No, I love Spilly from the moment he got there.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
The life of the party. Good pitch.
Corey is right, though. During batting practice, I have a homemade video that my old agent took from that day in Cincinnati. In the very first round, I'm taking BP. Todd Helton's sitting at the front with Mike Gallego, and I'm hitting balls straight up into the batting cage, and you see Todd walking off, shaking his head.
Great breaking ball there. It's 1-2.
And you and I both know Todd. Corey,
yeah,
you know Todd. What do you think Todd was thinking after watching me first round hit 5 balls into the cage?
Well, that was during Todd and the Toddlers, where we were all real young, all very inexperienced, and I'm pretty sure he was going, not again. Come on.
Ahead of the dangerous third baseman, Maikel Franco. Good curveball, and that'll end the inning. But damage done. With 2 outs, Altair the first hit for Philadelphia, and that was followed by Tommy Joseph going opposite field. 3-1 Colorado. Places to go grab a Philly cheesesteak. You never revealed who knocked off 8 1/4, Billy.
I can't.
Why not? I think he's probably proud of it.
All right.
Tony Walter's going to lead off for the Rockies. Colorado leading 3-1. Tony had a base hit and a run scored in the 3-run third for the Rocks. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborghs, Corey Sullivan, field level. Good swing from Tony. Sully, after you left the Rockies, you became a baseball nomad.
Yes.
Here in Houston, the Mets, Dodgers camp.
I just wanted to go coast to coast.
Got that done. You did that collegiately. You went to California for junior college and then all the way back to Carolina and Wake Forest.
I have driven every freeway, 10, 40, 70, and 80 across the country.
Not bad. This ball's in the air to center field. Odubel Herrera's out there, 1 out. Well, before the ball game, naturally, Jeff Hoffman making a spot start. Buddy Black was asked a number of questions about one of the prize prospects for the Rockies, and also asked about his solid performance against the Dodgers. Here's what he had to say about how Hoffman's coming along.
Our conversations are more mature, which I think is great. I think there's been, you know, in a short period of time, a little growth here on the mental side that I think will benefit Jeff in the long haul. So, again, I think that, you know, here's a guy with a, you know, no doubt a major league arm, and you know, the physical attributes to, you know, to be a good one. But you know, there's some other boxes he has to check off. But he's working hard to do that. So that's great to see.
I think when you look at Jeff Hoffman, one of the things I'm most proud of him was the fact that coming into spring training this year, I think it was assumed that he was going to be part of the rotation. And when Antonio and Kyle Freeland, and you can even put Herman Marquez, leaped in front of Jeff.
There's
Well,
a
that's going to
base
be a
hit.
knock.
He's going to have something to chat about with Freeland. Go ahead, Billy.
I think when you look at
That's
how he's had to overcome, there's the family.
That's the first career knock.
There we go.
They say get the baseball. He was 0 for 8 last year, so that's the first career knock for Jeff Hoffman. Good for him.
Let's see if this family gets the ball right away. Nope.
They have to authenticate it first.
That's it. Curveball, sits back. Eichhoff trying to put his bare hand on it. It's nice.
You were very complimentary there. Fastball or curveball sits back. That might have just been into his bat speed.
It's his first big league knock.
Here's Charlie. Finish your thought, though.
So there's times where guys that have prospect status, like Jeff Hoffman, and he's had it everywhere he's been. He's been a first rounder. And then to go into spring training thinking you're going to make the roster. You don't. You go down to AAA, and you're watching your buddies have success. Kyle Freeland and Jeff Hoffman are best buddies. They are golf buddies. They spend all their time together. And I can guarantee you, he's texting back and forth, but he's looking at coming back to the major leagues. The problem is there's times where you go to the minor leagues and you're thinking about getting to the major leagues that you can't perform. Hoffman went to the minor leagues and performed. He looked at the task at hand. He's come back to the major leagues, and he's shown us a different side that we hadn't seen before. And I think that was built because of what happened to him from spring training till now.
You know, Sully, I think it's an individual and a collective thing. Here's a 2-1 to Charlie. Found off. And what I mean by that is, individually, you want success naturally. But you also, when you're coming up to a team that's 15-7 out on the road, has the best overall record in the National League, is playing so well, you don't want to be the guy that drops the baton.
You definitely don't. And we've talked a lot about the pitching staff and how they have this next guy up mentality. Well, tonight, Hoffman's name was drawn, and you can see he's pitching with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He wants to be here, he wants to be a part of it, and he's trying to act that way.
Foul tips held. Blackman is gone. 2 outs. Charlie a 2-run double, a couple of strikeouts, and that'll bring up LeMahieu.
I do think also, Spilly, you can talk to this because this happened in 2007 to you. You got sent down. You may not deserved it, but you had to go down and hit your way back to the big leagues to be a part of that team.
Yeah, and I was upset about it. And I remember going down there and trying to prove that I deserved to be in the major leagues. And if I didn't go down there and felt sorry for myself, there's no way I would have been back or even made an impact. Hoffman's made an impact.
Leading 3-1 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Hoffman retired the first 11 hitters he faced with a dominant fastball that's been up to 98. You know, there's kind of an interesting note about tonight's 2 starting pitchers. They both were involved in huge trades for big names. Jeff Hoffman, as everybody knows, the centerpiece, if you will, in the Tulowitzki deal to Toronto. Jared Eichhoff was one of the players that came from Texas in the Cole Hamels and Jake Diekman deal. Diekman, a dominant left-handed reliever. By the way, Jesus Tinoco, who is in his first year in a Rockies, as a Rockies farmhand in Asheville, was terrific. He struggled last year. He's been pitching really well of late. He went 6 innings last night, gave up 3 runs. A couple starts ago, he went 7 shutout innings. Tinoco's 2-0 right now, 4.28 ERA, pitching in the Cal League for Lancaster.
That's not a good place to pitch.
No, and you know what? Some of this is by design, folks. And I'm glad Spilly pointed that out. And Spilly and Sully know most every minor league around the country. The Rockies know that their pitchers are going to be challenged when they get to Coors Field. Here's the 0-1 on Herrera. And that's hit in the air to left field. Pretty well hit. Parra, the 2-time Gold Glover, makes the catch. The Rockies were in Modesto. They moved to Lancaster, which is the toughest place to pitch because of the wind in the Cal League. Well, Asheville has a short fence.
Right.
Very offensive ballpark. We're still learning about Dunkin' Donuts Park in Hartford. It was just built. Albuquerque's at altitude. So if you come up through the system with the Rockies and you're pitching, you're used to adversity. You're used to pitching in difficult climates and smaller ballparks. And so you're toughened up, if you will, by the time you get to the big leagues.
Agreed. I think part of what the Rockies have done, even when you look at the fact that Albuquerque's a place for them as well, they tried to match the ball yard with high altitude.
So the fact that Tinoco is doing what he's doing, that's a great look at curveball. Just low, 1-1. I think speaks volumes. He's having a nice little bounce back year.
I think, guys, we've talked a lot about the type of pitcher that would have success at altitude in Colorado. And I think the most important thing is mentality. It's intention, it's conviction. And when you talk about the adversity these guys are seeing or that they're facing, it's how they then deal with it and focus it and channel it. And all the guys that we've seen last year and this year that have made their debuts and had an impact, all of them are incredibly convicted on the mound.
Here's the 2-1. Good looking pitch. Boy, he hit the target there. Right on the black. That's where Tony set up, 2-2. He's been very impressive. And he's done it in an economical fashion, just 61 pitches in with 1 out in the 5th inning. So he goes back to that hook against Cameron Rupp. He does. 2-2. One of the things that Jeff wants to improve upon, and again, he's a young pitcher. He doesn't have a lot or a long track record in the big leagues. A little bit last year, a little bit this year. Second time through, 368. Third time through, 333. And those numbers, I'm sure, will come down. And it's on the ground to third. Nolan, plenty of time. 2 outs.
Well, as we're giving love to Jesus Tinoco down in Lancaster, we might as well give some love to the position players. It's the 3rd consecutive week that a Jet Hawk had won Player of the Week honors. And this week it was Wes Rogers. The week before was Brendan Rodgers. And then the week before that was Sam Hilliard.
Well, for Lancaster, Jonathan Daza leads the Cal League in hitting at 362. Plays center field for Lancaster. That's a team that's very talented. Brendan Rodgers is one of the top prospects in baseball. Rodgers having a really fine year. 1-0 on Michael Saunders. Michael used to train in the off season in Denver. Rodgers, by the way, right now hitting 356 for Lancaster, so he's among the top 2 or 3 hitters in the Cal League. And he's slugging, fellas, 594. His OPS is 968. 11 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs. And the 3-0's in there, 3-1. Last year in Asheville, he had 19 home runs. 3rd pick of the draft a couple of years ago. Hoffman gave up a 2-out run in the 4th, double by Altair, a base hit the other way by Joseph. 3-1's fouled off. Saunders, a former Mariner. He's maintained his velocity. It's been pretty much 95 to 98.
Saunders has had an interesting career. He's expected to be the center fielder of the future in his time with Seattle. Last year in Toronto really revived his career, 24 home runs.
And a high fly ball to Cargo. He'll put that one away, and it's a 1-2-3 5th inning. Well done again by Jeff Hoffman. The Rockies, as we go to the 6th, in front 3-1. now for the Unlimited Baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile's news notes around the game of baseball. Tim Tebow, he'd gone a bunch of ABs without a home run. You know, he's big and strong. He had an opposite field home run today for Columbia, the Fireflies, the A-ball affiliate of the New York Mets. David Price will make another rehab start after shaky outing Friday. He's hoping to make one more and return to Boston. Good news, Chris Iannetta, that was scary. Chris got hit in the face and he's going to have some dental work. He had a broken nose. It was a really scary deal. The first pitch he sees upon his return, Iannetta goes yard.
That a baby.
Yeah, good for Chris. One other note on Tebow is Nolan steps in. A line out and a ground out. Tebow has now matched the great Michael Jordan on the career home run list for famous athletes who came to baseball late. 3 home runs for Tebow, 3 home runs in Michael Jordan's career. Yeah, that's another good curveball. 2-strike count on Arenado. Rockies got all 3 of their runs in the 3rd against Eichhoff, the 26-year-old former 16th round pick of Texas, and another curveball, and that's a strikeout of Nolan. Well, a lot of questions about Cargo and the slow start. Seems like we touch on this subject on a nightly basis. He's hitting 10 of his last 11, a base hit tonight in the 2nd. Look at 2015. We always reference that. Through the 3rd week of May, he had a 200 batting average and 4 home runs. He ended up with 40 home runs, 95 driven in. Last year he was better, but just 5 home runs. He ended up with 25 and 100 last year. And so this year, it's again a slow start, but as the weather heats up, Cargo heats up. One ball, 1 strike.
Eichhoff has settled down. These middle innings are always important to continue to add on. And after the Phillies scored that run in the 4th inning with 2 outs, not a lot of quality at bats yet.
That's down the line, and it skips over the glove of Joseph, out of play. That will be a double or a 2-base error. It doesn't matter. Cargo's at second base with 1 out. I think with that topspin second hop, probably you're going to give him a double.
I believe it's a double. And again, Cargo starting to heat up. The leg kick is coming down in time. Goes down as a double. Nice play by the fan. Wow, that had a lot of topspin. It just hopped up on Tommy Joseph. And now the Rockies have to take advantage of this. We always mention this, Corey and I, we always talk about middle innings and adding on. If you have a lead, right now it's a 2-run lead, but when a team scores back, trying to score on top of them.
It's just that counterpunch. You've got to be able to stay in the rhythm of the game offensively.
And you get your RBI leader at the plate in Reynolds. Mark a pop out and a strikeout. And he'll have to work with 2 strikes, something he's done very well so far this year. Mark leading the National League with 39 RBIs. Zimmerman next, and Votto. They both have 38 coming into play tonight. Those are the major league leaders. He's over in the American League. Nelson Cruz with 37 for Seattle is leading the junior circuit. That pitch was in the Subaru strike zone, but called a ball, fortunately, by Jerry Meals. 1 out double by Cargo, with the Rockies ahead by a pair of runs. And that curveball left up. Cargo's going to only be able to move 90 feet. He had to see that through. It was hit so hard. So Reynolds again with a 2-strike hit
This Phillies team has really struggled putting hitters away with 2 strikes. 23 home runs is the most in baseball with 2 strikes, and a curveball after missing the top of the zone tries to get it down a little bit further and hangs it. Eichhoff's lucky that ball didn't go over the fence.
You know, this is the 6th inning, right? As Bobby McClure goes out. This has been the 2nd most productive inning for the Rockies during the season. They have scored 32 runs this year in the 6th inning. The 4th inning, they've scored 42. That's the only the only inning that has been more productive offensively. 1st and 3rd, 1 out with Parra waiting.
Gear up for the 2017 season at your local Rockies dugout store, the place for all things Rockies.
Gerardo's due. He hit the ball hard his first time up, but right at Freddie Galvis, who turned a hard ground ball into a 6-4-3 double play. And then he grounded out sharply in the 4th inning to Cesar Hernandez, the 2nd baseman.
Interesting conversation Stu Cole and Cargo just had, talking about the options of what they can expect here. And they were really focusing on the curveball of Eichhoff that he's been throwing a lot of, and watching for it in the dirt to try and see if he can get to advance to home there.
This ball ripped to right. Saunders is there, and Cargo tags and comes home. Parra makes it 4-1. He's looking out there. He's saying, all right, I'll take the sac fly, but he thought he hit one in the gap.
Parra's hit 2 balls extremely hard tonight. One in the 2nd inning, so it ended up being a double play. And that ball hit to right was rifled. Go down as a sac fly, but he wants a hit.
Absolutely. 15th ribby for Parra. And now Amarista with 2 outs. You got a 2-strike hit by Mark Reynolds behind in the count. And then you have a productive out off the bat of Parra. When the Rockies scored 3 in the 3rd, you had 2 base hits and then a sac bunt with 2 strikes by Hoffman. So the Rockies have executed offensively. They've out-hit Philadelphia 8-2. They're up 4-1. And Eichhoff is due to lead off in the 6th, so this could very well be all for him. And there's a base hit. Boy, has Alexi Amarista had himself a road trip?
Anytime you get extended at bats, it's easier for these guys to be on time. And Amarista's been benefiting from these extra at bats because of Trevor Story going on the disabled list. Another hanging curveball for Amarista. Just pulls his hands in. Pulls it into right. 2 for 3 on the night.
Now an opportunity for Tony Walters. 1 for 2. Scored a run in the 3rd after singling. His confidence has soared offensively from the first half last year. Remember, he hit .321 in the 2nd half last season, and he's kind of picked up where he left off last year in the first couple of months of this season. Outside. Now the Phillies have struggled on the hill, and the Rockies are taking advantage, especially in the month of May. Their ERA 2nd from last in baseball. When you're 29th, 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 28th in that many pitching categories, you probably are playing beneath 500 baseball.
17 of the last 21 games they've lost.
2-0.
And yesterday, Aaron Nola threw a gem. Pitched the gem for the Phillies. Couldn't score.
The only run that scored, because the Pirates won 1-0 in the western part of PA yesterday. The only run that scored is with the bases loaded. Nola tried to come in on David Freese, and he hit him. forced in a run. Ball game over.
And it rains, it pours.
The only lefty in the bullpen for Philadelphia is getting loose. That's Joely Rodriguez. This is on the ground to second. That'll end the inning. The Rockies get another run, a 1-out double by Cargo, then a sac fly ultimately by Parra. 4-1 Colorado, middle of 6. Time for our Kubota pitching performance, and what a job so far by Jeff Hoffman. A run on just 2 hits in 5 innings. He's had a dominant fastball, and I can only recall 1, maybe 2 3-ball counts so far, and he also has his first major league hit. It's been a nice day for Jeff Hoffman. Looks to keep it going in the 6th inning with the Rockies up 4-1. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborghs, Corey Sullivan. It'll be 9-1-2 for Philadelphia, and they're going to go to their bench.
It's Brock Stassi. And Stassi, when he was told he made the team, I always like to tell people to Google search, or however you want to search it, watch his reaction. It's priceless. Grinding through the minor leagues for a bit. Didn't think he'd ever have an opportunity. Drafted by the in the 33rd round by the Phillies out of the University of Nevada.
And he takes a curveball for a strike. If you're a 33rd round pick and you get to the big leagues, job well done.
Making an opening day roster as well. Had a great spring training.
Curveball's outside, 1-1. So the line on Eichgoff, and he goes 6 innings, 4 runs, 9 hits, 4 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody. Hoffman out of Western Carolina. Here's the 1-2. 2-2. great example, Spill. You always talk about velocity gives you margin for error. He missed location by about 1.5 foot. He was trying to go away. He came in, but you know, it's 95, 96, 97.
That's the beauty of it. That's why velocity is trumping everything. It's also why you see a rise in walks. It's also why you see a rise in home runs, because it's mislocation, and a rise in strikeouts. The big velocity will get you swing and misses.
3-2, and that's a high fly ball to Cargo in right center field. Stasi's retired, and with 1 out, that'll bring up Cesar Hernandez, who's 0 for 2. Hey, how about a tip of the hat to the CMU Mavericks? That's Colorado Mesa. They are on to the D2 World Series. Congratulations. They have a great program year in and year out. They were runner-ups a few years ago at the College World Series, one of the premier D2 programs in the country. We were talking about them a few days ago. They would be, you know, if you played a best out of 7 and they played division, you know, a Division I slate, they beat a large percentage of D1 schools. They're that good.
They'll end up playing these games in Grand Prairie, Texas through the weekend. Gotta love collegiate playoff baseball.
It's the best that time of year. I've been watching some of the college tournament on the women's side, softball, which has been a lot of fun. Here's the 1-1. That's a little bit low. Chris Hanks is the head coach over in Grand Junction, and he's been there a long time. He's put together a great staff, great program. He has a mix of Colorado kids. He goes west to California and Arizona. Colorado is well represented there, and Chris is a Colorado kid. This is a high fly ball to left field, 2 outs. And way back, this is why when I got my start in television in Aspen, there was a television station that's now defunct up there. Chris Hanks was at Roaring Fork High School in Carbondale, and he was an enormous football, baseball star. He had opportunities to go play college football a number of places. Believe, if memory serves me correctly, he was drafted out of high school. Think about it, this is a little mountain town. This is how dominant this kid was. He went on to play collegiately, and then he played professionally for a while, and then had an injury, and he got into coaching, and he has built a juggernaut over there in Grand Junction. Galvis takes a breaking ball down and in.
Well, we need to give some love to the DU Pioneers lacrosse team as well. They beat Notre Dame yesterday. They are now in the Final Four for lacrosse.
Coach Tierney, man, is he good. Here's the 1-0. That's well received by Tony, but a little bit low. 2-0. Galvis, a fly ball to left field and a ground ball to first.
Pioneers won in hockey, right? Did they not win the Frozen Four?
Yeah, the 8th national championship for the Pios.
So it's a nice run for these guys.
They have a great gymnastics team. I just get excited. I know you do too, Spilly. Your adopted home is Colorado, Sully's as well. You get excited about all the Colorado teams having success. State baseball tournaments going on right now. It's a joy to watch also. That's fouled off. A lot of life on that fastball still. 2-2. We're in Sully's home state. I mean, Sully moved around a little bit growing up, but he's from Pittsburgh.
I am. I did spend quite a lot of time in this side of the state playing some soccer and baseball, though.
We were chatting about that earlier. You were probably as good a baseball player as you were. You said you might have been a better soccer player in high school, huh?
I think growing up, in hindsight, definitely soccer was my better sport until I got to college.
3-2, swung on and missed. Another 1-2-3 innings, 7 in a row set down by Hoffman. He has 5 strikeouts. He hasn't walked anybody. He's allowed a run on 2 hits.
Give him a high five, Sully.
Time for our Cooney Lexus look back. Charlie Blackmon, 2-strike double to left to score a couple of runs. And then DJ coming through with a base hit through the left side to score Charlie. And then last inning, Gerardo Parra with Cargo at third base, a line shot to deep right. And that scored Gonzalez, who had doubled. The story of the game, though, is Jeff Hoffman. Jeff Hoffman has been dominant so far through 6 innings. And now as we turn the page to inning number 7, Jeff will step up against Pat Neshek. And this guy's this is a little tougher assignment for a pitcher hitting against Neshek.
Neshek signed this offseason with the Phillies, and he's proven to be very valuable for their bullpen.
You guys may have faced it. Pat's been around for a while.
He was in the American League. I never had the opportunity to face him.
Corey, did you see him?
I did not. I may have faced him in a spring training game. I can't remember it if I did.
Let me point something out about Jeff Hoffman. The Rockies have a short bench tonight. Raimel Tapia was sent down. They had 4 guys on their 4 position players on the bench to make a spot for Jeff Hoffman. And because Hoffman has pitched so well, he's pushed himself to have this at bat.
Keeps the AB alive. Jeff, if you missed it, got his first big league hit in the 5th inning. He's channeling his inner Kyle Freeland. We were kidding with Buddy. There's family here. And you know what?
It's great.
Before the ball game with the short bench that Spilly was mentioning about, Neshek strikes out Hoffman. He said to Buddy, Kyle Freeland in play tonight? He says, yeah, absolutely. He said Freeland, Anderson, Chatwood, Russin.
I just think it's important to point out, when you have a 3-man bench, your backup catcher is probably the last player that is going to see the field. So you have 2 other players in Valleca and Ian Desmond, who obviously bring a ton of versatility. But you're still trying to keep those 2 batters for a different situation. You probably would like to have Desmond hitting in a situation where he can drive somebody in. Not leading off an inning against Pat Neshek.
I don't know what that pitch was, Sully. It was fluttering up there at 69 miles an hour.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a changeup. We might call it a floater.
Floater.
Yeah.
A floater. That was the heater at 90.
When you back 68 up with 90, though, it looks like it's 105. I actually looked up at the radar gun the first 2 pitches he threw because I don't remember him throwing 90 miles an hour from down there.
It's really different, especially if you're a right-handed hitter. You see Rupp wants it up and away. Missed. 2-2. Spilly, did you face Neshek?
I'm looking. I don't remember. I did.
Jacob looked it up.
Did I get a hit?
You reached.
He hit me?
No. You walked. You have one plate appearance against him.
He must have been with the Padres.
You own him.
You forgot to tell him it was an intentional walk.
Was it?
No.
Did you have one of those, Billy?
Yeah, but that was because I was hitting 8th and first base was open. It'd be one thing if you're hitting 3rd and you get intentionally walked. It's another when you're hitting 8th.
This is fisted to 3rd. Maikel Franco not going to get Charlie. It's a leg hit for Blackmon, his 2nd of the ball game. And now his 20th multi-hit game.
Franco double clutches, which allows Charlie the opportunity to get down the first base line. And because of the double clutch, he doesn't end up getting a great grip on it and has to quickly get rid of the baseball.
Makes you appreciate Nolan that much more, doesn't it?
Oh, man.
So maybe a running situation here. Both of you guys ran well. With the awkwardness or the unorthodox delivery of Neshek, harder or easier to run on?
I think it's harder because he's actually pretty quick to the plate.
Yeah, he doesn't really lift that front leg, does he?
But I think when you have somebody like DJ up there who's got such a high baseball IQ, he can tell whether Charlie gets a good enough jump, whether or not to swing.
2 strikes on LeMahieu.
When Neshek first made it to the major leagues back in 2006, his average fastball from that low quarter angle that he's giving you, 91 miles an hour. It dipped down to 85 miles an hour in 2010 with the Twins, and then they got rid of him. And for him to get his velocity back, obviously means he's healthy.
Well, not many guys have attempted to steal against Neshek, but when they do go, they've had a little bit of success. 15 bags, 24 attempts.
The number that's surprising me, looking up Neshek, Corey, what do you think his ground ball rate, career ground ball rate is?
Well, if you're saying surprised, it's got to be low, but I would have guessed probably 58 to 62%.
32% ground ball rate.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
That's shocking. That makes him an extreme fly ball pitcher.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
2 outs, and Nolan will have his 4th at bat. Nolan's 0 for 3.
The first 10,000 fans this Saturday, May 27th, will receive a Nolan Arenado jersey, courtesy of King Supers.
I think with Neshek, we saw it with Charlie's at bat. He likes to pitch up in the zone, which from that arm angle, it's got to be difficult.
Pat's from Madison, Wisconsin. That's a great college town. Home of the Badgers. And it's 2-0. Rockies, their last 7 series, 6-0-1. On the season, they've played 14 series. They've won 10. They've lost 2 at home against the Padres. At home against Washington, they dropped 3 of 4. And they've tied 2 series. Into the 7th, the Rockies this year, when they carry a lead to the 7th, 24-0. Three and 1 on Arenado. Fargo looming next. He's got a couple hits tonight.
A lot of off-speed pitches thrown to Nolan today. His previous at-bat struck out on 3 straight curveballs.
His best at bat was his first at bat. He had an absolute missile, but right at the left fielder. And this ball is going to be an easy play for Saunders. Blackman a base hit. He's left on. We stretch in Philadelphia. The Rockies 4 and the Phillies 1. With some very special guests every Tuesday via social media on Toyota Talk Takeover. Tomorrow's guest will be a fascinating one, we think, for you. It's the Rockies Director of Player Personnel, John Weil. So start sending your questions right now for Johnny using the hashtag Toyota Talk during tonight and tomorrow's game against the Philadelphia Phillies. We go to the bottom of the 7th. The Rockies up 4-1. Jeff Hoffman has been terrific, and he'll face the middle portion of the Phils lineup. It's Aaron Altair, Tommy Joseph, Maikel Franco, 3, 4, and 5. And the curveball in the inside corner for a strike. The first 11 were set down by Hoffman, and then Altair with 2 outs doubled off the right center field wall in the 4th. Joseph followed with a base hit. The only 2 hits, and that produced the lone run for the Phils. Here's the 0-1. And that ball is tomahawked to right again, and it'll be another double for Altair. And a pretty good job handling that fastball up in the zone.
Second time he's driven a ball opposite field for a double. As we said before, Aaron Altair is having a breakout year for the Phillies. He's already proved to the Phillies that he should be an everyday guy. As he was recovering from wrist injury, his bat in the zone wasn't in the zone enough yet. Now you can see the swing is right for a pitch fastball up and in. To pull your hands in like that and drive it as hard as he did, he's in a good spot.
Nobody out in the 7th. Tommy Joseph at the plate. And he went. 0-1. Mike Dunn. 90 pitches for Hoffman. We'd really like to see him find his way through this inning. It's new territory for him. He's never gotten an out in the 7th inning in his brief big league career. That ball had some sink to it. 93.
Good downhill action for Jeff Hoffman. You try not to be too predictable. Starting both Altair and Joseph off with curveballs and then following up with a fastball. You have to be able to mix up your sequences.
Here's the 0-2. He held up that time, 1-2.
Sully from the side, does he still look as sharp as he did to you in the first inning?
Yeah, what I was going to say, I was going to follow you up when you're talking about starting them both off with curveballs. That's something that we've now seen him do the third time through, but he's throwing them for strikes, which is what you want to see because he's establishing strike one. The mistake he made to Altair obviously was the fastball was up and out over the middle of the plate, but now he's got himself in a position of power where he can go to that full mix that you're talking about. He can elevate. He can expand the strike zone where when you're behind in the count like he was when he was last year. Obviously.
How about that curveball for
Filthy.
the first out in the 7th inning? That is strikeout number 6 for Hoffman.
DJ and Tony are going to have a conversation with Hoffman, but that is a well-located wipeout curveball. Just to what Corey was talking about, being able to use your mix of pitches. Joseph missed that ball by a foot.
Spill, you know what I liked about both of those curveballs when you go back to the sequence? The first one was buried, as it should be, out of the zone. It's a chase pitch. That's a chase pitch that he made a little more tantalizing. But again, if that's put in play, there's almost no chance of hitting that with any kind of authority.
None.
Here's Maikel Franco. I want to point something else out, particularly here at Citizens Bank. This is a better than average lineup. You may not be familiar with a lot of the names, but Altair, 300 hitter, 8 home runs, 25 driven in. Joseph can do damage. Franco's down a little bit this year, but we've seen him do damage. Herrera, as you mentioned a year ago, was an all-star. And at home, they've been a very good offensive team this year, averaging about 5.5 runs a game. Good block by Walters, 1-1.
You'll see with a young team, Scott Oberg is trying to warm up as well, that their record will dictate the type of at-bats they take. And I think with this young Phillies team, the disappointment talking to people familiar with the team is that a player like Franco has taken the losses to heart, and he's swung outside of his normal comfort zone, trying to do too much.
Here's the 1-1, and it's a curveball away, and it's a 1-2 count.
Drew, Spilly, to get back to the talk about Hoffman and the pitch mix, something that I'm noticing as well is he's really adding and subtracting with his curveball. We see 75, 76, we see 80, we see 83 miles an hour. So even if he becomes a little bit predictable, the variation in speed creates a lot of difference in how hitters can square it up.
And I don't know if you have to play up when you have 95 to 98, but, you know, 3 straight breaking balls. If that fastball shows up, it's going to look like 105. And he doesn't go to it. He strikes out Franco on a similar curveball to the one he got Joseph on.
I just love that Franco wanted Hoffman to challenge him the entire time with the fastball, trying to cheat to get it. And the fact that Walters and Hoffman use that aggressiveness against him. Franco made up before the pitch was even thrown that he was going to get a fastball and hit it.
You know, it's interesting now, 97 pitches. After those 2 strikeouts, Steve Foster comes out. I guarantee you that if either Joseph or Franco reached, with 1 out, Mike Dunn would be in this game right now to face Herrera.
Yep.
But this is another growth moment for Jeff Hoffman, who's probably had a couple of growth moments already in this game. He has been outstanding.
And I think if you're in that dugout and Buddy's looking at it, talking it over with Mike Redmond, they're trying to give him growth moments. They're trying to give him opportunities to test himself. Granted, he has a little bit longer of a leash because of the score. It's 4-1. You feel a little bit more comfortable giving him an extra batter. All right, struck out Joseph, let's give him Franco. Struck out Franco, let's give him one more.
Herrera, a comebacker and a fly ball to left field. Popped up out of play. And this is where, Sully, you want to empty the tank.
Yeah, if you watch Hoffman right now, I was just looking at him. He's standing tall, his chest puffed out. You can tell he wants to end it right here. He wants this to be his last batter. He wants the inning to be over, and he wants to get out of here.
Yeah, I'd be smiling ear to ear also.
I want to see their face after he gets the final out. Nervous texting.
And that is cued to third. Nolan's got it. Herrera's out. What a job by Jeff Hoffman. Stand up if you're a Rockies fan, even in your living room. That was terrific. A dominant 7 innings from Jeff Hoffman. He was special tonight. 4-1 Rockies. Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Say yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by the Wyoming Office of Tourism, Wyoming is full of adventure. It's time to find out if you are too. That's why. TravelWyoming.com. Overcast night in Philadelphia, but the sun is shining figuratively on the Rockies once again. They're up 4-1 as we go to the 8th inning. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilbortz, and Corey Sullivan from Citizens Bank Park. And Jeff Hoffman, in all likelihood, is done after 7 innings and 100 pitches, and he has twirled a gem. 7 innings, 1 run, just 3 hits, 7 strikeouts. He didn't come close to walking anybody.
No, he did not. He was aggressive with his fastball, the secondary pitch. Best we've seen him so far in his young major league career.
In between innings, Bud Black came over, and there were both big smiles and a lot of what I would call pride coming from Bud Black that Jeff Hoffman was able to get through that inning.
Andres Blanco's in at third base now. Cargo facing Joely Rodriguez. Look out. Cargo a single and a double in 3 trips tonight.
Joely, left-handed reliever with only 2 pitches. Big fastball, which is not a surprise anymore. 93 miles an hour. Follows it up with a hard slider.
That's in there for a strike at 95. 1-1. Cargo, Reynolds, Parra. There's Blanco. 1-2. That's just foul. Gargo scored the Rockies' 4th run, a 1-out double. He scored on a Parra sac fly. Mark Reynolds had a base hit in there as well. And Rodriguez tags out Gargo, 1 unassisted.
Coca-Cola value packs are back for the 2017 season, including May 30th versus the Mariners. 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 Cokes, and more for either $59 or $79, depending on seat location.
So here's Reynolds. 1 for 3. Sharp single to left in the 6th. Rockies trying to snap a 4-game losing streak against the Phillies. Set the tone for the series also. The last 10 series the Rockies have played at Citizens Bank Park. They've won only 1. They've lost 8 of those 10 series. They had 1 split. Time to rewrite the script. But when you fellows were partaking in the postseason in '07, even though the Rockies had struggled at Philadelphia earlier that year, 2-0 in the postseason in '07.
There's not a better place to play postseason baseball than Philadelphia.
It's great, isn't it?
It's great.
Doesn't matter what the sport is.
It doesn't matter. And I think as athletes, nothing's better than beating someone in their own backyard.
I remember too, just walking around the city those few days, electric atmosphere beyond the ballpark.
Little pull back behind the curtain with Philadelphia. Now, I don't know if this is true for all Philadelphia sports teams or teams that come in and beat the Phillies or other sports teams, but leaving Philadelphia as a visiting team, very difficult to get off the tarmac. A lot of times that if we had a decent series here in Philadelphia, took a little longer than usual to get out of here.
I remember another detail because '07 was after that one of the great games ever played when you guys beat San Diego and Matty scored on the Jamie Carroll sac fly. This is sharply hit, but it's at second. And we departed right after the ball game. Well, there was a little bit of celebration and festivities in the clubhouse and so forth. And it was the next morning when we were coming in over the Ben Franklin Bridge.
With the helicopters overhead following us. Right. Corey remembers that one well, too.
Coming into Philadelphia. And it was good you guys weren't playing that night because nobody slept.
We wouldn't have been capable of playing that night very well.
We actually voted on the bus ride that only Francis was going to show up. Because we were going to come to a workout and take batting practice, and the team voted that only Jeff, the starting pitcher for Game 1, was going to come and do the interviews.
And he did.
Yep.
Everyone else slept.
Wise move. Gerardo's hit the ball hard tonight, 0 for 2 and a sac fly.
By the way, from here on out, there's a good chance I will never make it out of Philadelphia quickly if I leave an airport. You know what I'm saying? Like, they will say, hold on.
That's a good thing.
Were you on the Rockies?
Means you upset a few people.
Yep.
2 strikes on Parra. Stays off the slider, 1-2. How'd he get to that? Look at it. Look at Parra's face. He's like, I don't know. How did I get to that?
He's smiling. I love it.
Look at this hack.
On the super mo.
That had a little Helton in it. The finish. Watch. Right?
Yeah, that high one-hand finish.
Parra doesn't have a hit to show for tonight, but he's taking good quality at bats.
Absolutely.
He's hit 2 balls hard on the screws.
I need not tell you guys, this is why this game's brutal at times, right?
Yeah, something we've talked about with Parra, though, the play he made in left field. I mean, that's one of those important plays that gets overlooked.
I'll tell you a quick story. Jeff Hoffman told me earlier today. I think this is beautiful, and it speaks to National League Baseball, and I know you guys love National League Baseball as I do because of the strategy involved with the pitcher. And this is something that the Rockies organization, one of the many things they do very, very well. Zach Wilson, who's the farm director, when Jeff Hoffman came from Toronto, one of the first things that was instilled in him, and there were statistics to back this up, that if a pitcher had a quality at bat, one quality at bat in the game, the odds of his team winning went up a fairly large percentage. If the pitcher could have 2 quality at bats, it went up astronomically. Well, tonight, Jeff Hoffman, sack bunt, he gets down, quality at bat. Next time up, he gets a base hit, quality at bat. And guess what? 2 quality at bats, and his team's ahead 4-1. The little things.
Yeah. Pitcher has to be able to handle the bat, and that'll give him an opportunity to stay in the game longer because he can handle the bat. Well, I'd like to see Parra win this battle.
He's putting together a really nice at bat. 2-2. Next pitch will be number 9 from Joely Rodriguez.
And only one of those pitches inside the Subaru strike zone.
Rodriguez out of Santo Domingo. Swinging bunt and a collision, and still Rodriguez able to throw him out. Usually when guys collide with 260-pound Cameron Rupp, they go down. Middle of 8, Rockies leading 4-1. Home of the Liberty Bell.
Of Jeff Hoffman in the bottom of the 8th inning. Fans, be sure to download the MLB.com Ballpark app, the official app of Coors Field. Check in to win prizes every game throughout the month of May. Pitching change, Scott Oberg time. Right-hander coming in.
A little different spot for Scott tonight. You're trying to protect the lead in the 8th inning. 17 and 10 strikeout to walk ratio. With a few less walks in a perfect world. He will get the bottom third of the lineup for Philadelphia. Rupp, Michael Saunders, a left-handed bat, and then switch hitter Andres Blanco. Rupp against Hoffman, a strikeout and a ground ball to third. Sliders on the outside corner for a strike. Scott getting a pitch near relatively close to home. Philadelphia about an hour and a half from New York City, and he grew up in Connecticut. That's foul. So a few hour ride. Rockies, when they lead after 7, 26-0. That is the best mark in baseball. The Phillies 3 and 20 when they trail after 7. Oh, 2 heaters up at 97, 1 and 2.
The Rockies today have featured a lot of curveballs to this Philadelphia Phillies team. A lot of off-speed pitches. We spoke on how good this Phillies team can hit the fastball.
Sliders down, 2 and 2.
We also mentioned how this Phillies team, usually you'll see it with a young team, they will hunt fastball, and if they see one first pitch, they'll fire. And those numbers are represented. Lead baseball, first pitch batting average.
Got him. Away with a slider. So Oberg fans, Rupp one gone in the 8th.
So we're talking about 2-2 count. Rupp is probably expecting a fastball. When your average fastball average is 95, 96 miles an hour, you expect it. But the Rockies have been using the off-speed pitches against this aggressive Phillies hitting team.
So Michael Dunn will come on next. Oberg does his job. He gets the right-handed hitting Rupp. Philadelphia 10-3. Who wants tacos, folks? Follow at @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more in a ball game. Rockies got 3 in the 3rd. They added a run in the 6th inning. And now with 1 out, nobody on the 8th, the Rockies will turn to Mike Dunn, who, I don't know if it was superstition. Mike shaved a good portion of his beard off, Spilly.
Well, the last appearance that he had, 2 1/3 of an inning, gave up 3 earned runs, including a home run to Scott Schebler. Ended up being the game winner. So yeah, you're going to change things up. Corey, have you ever shaved during a game?
Oh, Mr. Todd Helton style? I did it one time, yes.
During a game,
Yes.
you made an out and shaved.
I went in and used the clippers. I did it, and it did not work. I did not get a hit.
Saunders swings at a slider, and it's 0-1.
It's hard to shave off a bad swing.
Well, you guys can tell the story or embellish the story, but Helton, one game, he started out in a full beard. He made an out, and then he came back with like a goatee, made another out. He had a mustache. By the end of the game, he was clean shaven.
And I think he had a hit at the very end when he was clean shaven.
So it worked.
Yeah.
In his mind, it worked.
Yeah. He was going to get a hit regardless.
Yes.
He didn't have to do that, but it made for more fun for us.
1-1. Popped up. Will Tony have a play or Mark Reynolds? Neither. How about the one where Helton, didn't he, back when Preston Wilson was a Rocky, didn't he go and take Preston Wilson, like an extra pair of pants out of Preston Wilson's locker in the middle of the game because he didn't like he didn't feel like there were any hits in his pants?
I think the way it was he tore his pants, and Preston's locker was near his. He wore them and got 3 hits, and then had to wear them forever, basically.
Unbelievable. 1-2.
Corey was often Todd's throwing partner.
Oh, that was when he asked you to play catch, you knew what that meant, though. Like, you knew you were committed, because if he got hits, you were staying there every day. You had to show up at the same time. And unfortunately for my routine, fortunately for Todd's, it worked out a few times.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Saunders. Swung on and missed. Mike Dunn has struck out Saunders. There's 2 outs in the 8th inning.
Maybe the shaving has helped him regain that off-speed pitch. Fastball above the belt, but it was all set up by his good slider. His last outing, Dunn struggled to find command of his secondary pitches and was forced to throw just fastballs.
So here's Andres Blanco. He has only 32 at-bats this year. He's 4 for 11 from the right side. And he takes strike 1. He went around. It's 0-2.
The other day when we were in Minnesota, we noticed how many switch hitters that they had in their lineup. Philadelphia Phillies have 6 players on their roster that are switch hitters.
Well, on their bench tonight for Pete McCannon, of the 5 guys available, 4 were switch hitters. This being one of them. 2 strikes on Blanco. '94 is up out of the zone.
Our comment in Minnesota is probably the same one we're going to have here in Philadelphia. That many switch hitters means 12 swings that you have to work on. Matt Stairs, the Phillies hitting coach, has his work cut out to make sure each side is properly maintained.
The 1-2. And that's a foul ball.
Corey, you like to play pocket GM with me. Would you like a roster with 6 switch hitters?
Whew, that'd be, I mean, that takes versatility to kind of a whole new level. You have an opportunity to move guys around the field, and they can flip on the side of the plate. That'd be pretty special.
There's Matty. Matty was in the broadcast booth for a while here in Philadelphia. And it's funny, he's a smart guy who played for every team in baseball, one of the great pinch hitters of all time. Swung on and missed. And now he's the hitting coach here in Philadelphia. What an inning by Dunn and Oberg. They strike out the side. Hoffman set the stage, though. Thank you, Huey. It's Alexi Amarista in the top of the 9th inning for the Rockies. Second inning of work coming up for Joely Rodriguez. It's been a good night for Lexi again. 2 singles, a run scored, and 3 at bats. Got the average to .358. Rodriguez, the only left-hander in that bullpen for Philadelphia. This is over the mound, and Amarista is out. Barely. Good play by Galvis.
It's a fantastic play by Galvis. Galvis known primarily for his glove. He wears the number 13 for his favorite player, Omar Vizquel. And this play reminds me of Omar Vizquel. It's all about running through the baseball from the infield side. He throws it right off his back foot on the Supermo. Rockies might have an argument. Alexi's not going to leave first base. He's going to stand there and make sure that the umpires take a look at this.
Ooh, this is really close.
I think he's safe. I'm going to mark him down in my book as safe. And as we've told you, the viewers, there's 3 different review outcomes. There's clear, convincing evidence that the call on the field was correct, and that's called confirmed. There's a play that will remain, and it's a shade of gray. It's called stands. That's when you can't figure out if he's safe or out. So if the call on the field stands, he's out. And then there's overturned, which means you have clear, convincing evidence that the call on the field was in fact wrong. I think he's safe. I'm hoping for a hit. Foot on the bag.
Yeah, heels on the bag. He's definitely safe.
Well, don't say
Yeah, I
definitely
know.
safe.
Come on.
You know what? I get these wrong all the time. So
I was watching.
definitely, maybe he could be safe. He may be out.
There you go.
How about that?
I was watching Stu Cole and Ron Kolpa, the third base umpire, watch it on the big screen here, and immediately Kolpa turned to Cole and said, "Hey, he's out." And then he watched it again from a different angle, and he goes, "Hey, he's safe." So they couldn't tell.
Safe.
There we go.
There you go.
So a leg hit for Alexi. So he's now 3 for 4 quietly tonight.
I think listening to Jenny and Huey talking about that Jeff Hoffman looked like a major league pitcher. There's no doubt he's a major league pitcher. He has changed the way he looks compared from last year to this year. It's a good problem to have, too. It's the same as with what we've looked at with Ian Desmond and Mark Reynolds. When you have talent and guys are pushing to play at this level, you can't ask for a better problem.
You can't have enough pitching. Heard that before, right? Can't.
And as we always mention to people, they say, well, isn't John Gray coming back in a couple weeks? Yes, it's a couple weeks away. You have to let it play out. The game will settle itself on its own.
Let me repeat myself. You can't have enough pitching. Tony Walters. Oh, man.
That one hit him in the shoulder.
Boy, that is scary because you're squared around.
Pete McCannon's asking Jerry Meals what's going on.
Well, I mean, you know, Pete's going to make the argument that he attempted to bunt that and it should be a strike.
On the Subaru Supermo. Oh,
No,
man. That
wow. You know, you worry about it hitting the collarbone because.
Oh.
Wow.
I've never seen that. Billy, have you ever seen that?
I've never seen one off the chest.
No. I mean, there's nothing Tony Walters can do there.
At 92. That's a good sign. Pat Valleca, who's going to hit for Dunn. Strategy-wise, fellas, I still bunt here. 4-1 game.
Come on, you know my feeling.
I know
this.
you. I know, Spilly, what you feel about this. The only time that
ever
when you give up an out, you actually slightly improve your chances to score. First and second, nobody out versus second and third, one out. Sully, you on board?
I'm on board, but I also like putting immediate pressure on the defense, and I wouldn't mind seeing a hit and run.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, the only argument that people have with bunting here is that if you do give up the bunt, and then so there's the run scoring probability, so it's just taking into account scoring a run. And then the other argument is the run expectations. How many runs can you score if you just hit? And it's slightly more if you hit than if you give up with the sacrifice bunt.
Showing bunt early, and it's a great bunt. Took a terrific play to get Valleca. So Valleca, the sack bunt, second and third, one out. And the Rockies will have a couple opportunities to add some insurance for the ninth.
The sacrifice bunt today's been the biggest play so far in the game, and this could be the jugular RBIs that this bunt will lead to. Hoffman with 2 strikes with the bunt, moving guys over. Just the perfect touch on a sacrifice bunt. That goes down. If he's safe, that's a great hit.
The Rockies tonight have had a near impeccable performance when it comes to offensive execution, doing the little things. Bunts, getting put down, 2-strike hits. Blackmon had one of those to deliver a couple of runs. Reynolds, with a runner in scoring position, had a 2-out hit. With Cargo at second, he hit it so hard to left that Cargo could only move to third. Another opportunity for Blackmon to drive in runs. 2 ribbies today for Charlie. And he's behind 0-2.
Both pitches painted within that Subaru strike zone.
I'm always interested to see, too, in this scenario. Charlie's the first left-handed batter to face Rodriguez since Tony got hit. And that's never comfortable at bat. And he paints 2 fastballs.
Look at that. Runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Charlie leading the parade. He can add on with 2 strikes here. That's a fair ball, and it's down the right field line. Not handled by Tommy Joseph. 2 runs will score. Charlie races to second base, and the Rockies lead 6-1. A do-or-die play for Joseph, and it eluded him entirely. And now Pete Maccannon's going to make a pitching change. 5-run lead for the Rockies.
This is a situation, it is anything on the ground, even with the infield drawn in, you're going on contact, and for that reason, Charlie puts it with 2 strikes. You're forcing Joseph to make a play. And the Subaru Supermo flat out whiff.
Yeah, you know, he never came in contact with the baseball. Charlie may end up with a double with that.
We'll see, but nothing sounds better in Philadelphia than hearing the Boo Birds rain down.
On the official score rules error on first baseman Tommy Joseph. Charlie still gets an RBI because the runner was coming home. So instead of getting 2 RBIs and a double, he'll get 1 RBI. It is an E3. Charlie now with 36 runs batted in. Luis Garcia, who's been up and down a couple times this year from Lehigh Valley. Last year, same thing. He was on that train to Lehigh Valley 4 different times a year ago. And he'll face LeMahieu with 1 out, 2 runs in, and Charlie at second base. DJ takes a strike. He's 1 for 4, an RBI single in the 3rd. That's been good, smart baseball, Drew.
Both times sacking over, nobody out, first and second. has led to runs, multiple in that inning.
See a fan in the background. He's wiping his brow. He's thinking about putting that Philly bag maybe over his head. Don't do that. Not advisable. And the Rockies fans happy as can be in front of him. Way inside. We haven't seen that a lot here in Philadelphia. Again, the Rockies have lost 20 of their last 27 against the Phillies here at the bank. Greg Holland was up earlier. Now it's just Jake McGee. This guy Garcia is Billy, the all-time saves leader at Lehigh Valley. That's like the good news and the bad news, right?
It's like being the all-time career home run hitter, minor league home run hitter. Crash Davis. You don't want that.
This ball in the air to right field and caught out there by Saunders, excuse me, and moving from second to third is Blackman with 2 outs. That'll bring up Nolan. Nolan tonight, a line out, a ground out, a strikeout, and a fly ball to right field.
The Phillies going soft against Nolan tonight. Another first pitch off speed to Nolan. They may not give him another fastball.
Charlie took a couple aggressive steps, but didn't get far enough away from Rupp. Two and one.
3 straight sliders.
You know, one of the many things the Rockies have done well this year so far that they did not do a good job of a year ago. One of the reasons they ended up south of 500. This ball is hammered deep left center field. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. They finally fed him a fastball and Nolan hit it out. And now the rock's on. The Rockies up 8-1. Home run number 12 for Arenado.
That ball was crushed. Nolan was not going to miss a fastball if he had one tonight. 4 straight off-speed pitches. And Garcia forced to challenge Nolan. You're not going to win this battle. Oh. I love that swing. It's so short. You might not see another fastball the rest of the year.
I think Garcia saw the at-bat that Nolan had in the 6th inning where that's the first time I've seen Nolan predetermine his swing, I think, and he did it all 3 pitches on the off-speed, and he thought the same thing, and then Nolan jumps that 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Was it loud down there?
Oh, my. It was funny. I was actually looking at the monitor watching pitch location, and I heard it, and I looked up. I said, yep, before I even looked up.
Does look pretty cool when you're trotting around the bases with a black eye.
Huh. Right?
In Philadelphia.
Perfect. Cargo back up the middle, and Galvis not going to get Cargo. That's another hit. He's got a 3-hit ball game. Good effort by Freddie Galvis. Good effort by Cargo getting up the line.
Remember back to the start of this inning, it was Alexi Amarista beating out an infield single that started this rally. Another play for Galvis that he made closer than it should have been.
All right, Spilly, I got my one Rocky line for you. When Nolan's running around the bases, does he yell, "Adrian, I did it"?
No, I think he puts his mouthpiece in and he goes, ding, ding. Yeah, that's sweet.
He got jabbed last night, but he counterpunched today.
No, he hit him with the haymaker.
Hey, guess what we have?
Black eyes?
That and tacos. Rockies have eclipsed the 7-run mark. Make your way to participating Taco Bell locations tomorrow between 4 and 6 to receive your Rockies taco special. Good breaking ball. It's 1-2 on Reynolds. Mark 1 for 4. That's the first 3-hit game of the year, by the way, for Cargo.
It's getting hot. It's average up to 234.
Climbing.
Raised it 13 points today.
One of the great truisms in baseball, if you've been in this game for a while, water finds its level. Cargo's close to a 300 hitter in his career. And the 2-2 swung on a miss by Reynolds. Rockies score 4 times in the 9th to break it wide open. The most exciting one, 97 getting turned around by number 28. 8-1 Rockies. They need 3 outs. Yesterday when the Rockies had 6 runs in double figures in hits. In fact, they scored 20+ runs in that weekend set in Cincinnati, taking 2 out of 3. And they're poised to shake hands here. Again, up 8-1. Jake McGee will be asked to get the last 3 outs. Jake's had a terrific year. Almost a 4.5-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio in the league. Hit just a little over the Mendoza line.
McGee in his last outing was asked to pick up 5 outs. Picked up 3 strikeouts in the process. Well, this team is clicking on all cylinders right now.
Well, I started to say this, and then I was interrupted
by a home run.
Nolan hitting the ball to the moon. One of the many things that the Rockies are doing well this year that they struggled with a year ago is they're beating the good teams. Number one, they're well above 500 against plus 500 teams, and they're well over 500 against the teams that are beneath 500. And a year ago, remember, they played better actually against the higher quality opponents. Rockies went 4-2 against the Cubs, the eventual world champs. Played the Giants tough. Won the season series, in fact, with San Francisco. But then you had series against Cincinnati. They went 2-5. Remember, against Cincinnati, they struggled with the Padres last year. 1-2.
I always caution good teams when they're playing a team like the Phillies right now that are just playing bad baseball.
Take advantage.
You have to, and the other side of it is there's not a lot of energy coming out of the Philadelphia Phillies clubhouse. There's not a lot of energy coming out of that dugout. Not to play to that energy level.
And there's a strikeout of Cesar Hernandez. And you guys saw up close, as you've mentioned a couple times tonight, how Philly fans can be on the opposition. Well, as tough as they can be on you guys, especially roaming around the outfield, they have fairly close proximity to you. They're even worse on their own clubs when they're not playing well.
The very first time I ever heard a hometown player get booed was David Bell. David Bell was struggling for this Phillies team. And I believe he was signed to a 3-year contract, and he was not performing well. And David Bell wasn't even at the plate when the Philly fans were raining down their boos. He was coming up as a pinch hitter. And as soon as David Bell walked out of the dugout and went on the on-deck circle, the boos started raining. And I'm thinking to myself, because I'm looking, I was like, why are they booing Chase Utley? They don't boo Chase Utley. And it was as soon as David Bell got to the plate, it was even louder, like a fever pitch. And I go, oh my goodness, I have never seen that before.
Tough town. 1-1 on Galvis. That was a strike that was called a ball. 2-1.
I will say this, David Bell hit a base hit right after, and they cheered pretty loudly for him. You got this, Aaron. Tough love.
There's the Subaru strike zone. So McGee will recalibrate. I think I said the Rockies won the season series with the Giants. They actually finished 9-10, but get the point. On the ground to third. 2 outs. Rockies last year won 6 of 7 against the Mets, 4 of 2 against Washington, 3 of 4 against the Yankees, but struggled with some of the teams that also struggled last year. So far this year, they're 16-10 against plus 500 teams. And if they get one more out, they'll move to 13-7 against sub 500 teams.
Perfect.
That's taking care of business.
Yeah, you have to take care of business.
Here's Aaron Altair. He's been the lone bright spot tonight for Pete McCannon and the Phils. He's 2 for 3, a pair of doubles. The only other hit, a Tommy Joseph single in the 4th. Jeff Hoffman with his buddy Kyle Freeland. Marvelous tonight. On the outside corner, it's 0-2. Another team, the Rockies, last year struggled with Milwaukee. They lost 5 of 6 to Milwaukee. Five out of 7 of Miami. Well, Miami was pretty solid last year.
It's been a grind for the Miami Marlins this season. Not expected to play as bad as they have been.
It'd be nice to see Jake get this inning done in a minimum amount of pitches, and he thought he had it done there on the 12th pitch. Just outside. Ball and 2 strikes on Aaron Altair. curveball mixed in by Jake.
You have to. You can tell with the takes that Altera has right now. 6'5" righty. He's the only bright spot. This is the only batter in the Phillies lineup right now that makes me nervous.
And he pounces into the ground. And the long throw is going to get him. Amarista, beautiful play. And the Rockies a 1-2-3 ninth inning. And a really complete performance. 8-1 behind Jeff Hoffman. 7 fabulous innings. And the Rockies improved to 29-17 for the first time this year. They're 12 games above 500. They're now 5-2 on this lengthy 10-game road trip. Great start tonight in Philadelphia for the Rockies. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. You know who it's about tonight. Jeff Hoffman making another spot start, and he was almost unhittable. Retired the first 11 hitters. His fastball sitting most of the night between 96 and 98 miles an hour. He also threw out his first career hit. He allows a run on 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, did not walk a soul. Great evening for Jeff Hoffman, one he'll remember for a long time. Nolan hit a home run. A lot of people contributed offensively. A complete win for the Rockies, 8-1 in Philadelphia. Plenty to talk about on the Twitter postgame.